They said I owed 22. I paid 29.
Right.
Okay? That's a $7,000 surplus, bro. I just like to know, can the brother get his refund back? I mean, that judge told me, brother. That judge told me consider it a gift. My first son had been told that I wasn't paying child support. And I think I don't know if you want to talk about that now and how that how
Yeah.
that ended up. Okay,
Go ahead.
so my first son, his mother had told him that I wasn't taking care of him. I wasn't sending money for child support to take care of him and things like that. So he lived 8 hours away from me. I live here in Houston. He was in Midland, Texas. And I would have to drive 8 hours because later during that time, the state of Texas family court, they sent me a letter saying that you are being sued or you're being charged with failure to pay child support. And so the court wasn't here in Houston. I had to drive in West Texas to Midland to have my case, tried and dealt with. So I'm working already at the time. So I had to take off from work. And at the time also I'm struggling. You know what I'm saying? I'm paying child support now for 2 kids. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So, and that ain't cheap. So I'm paying child support. And this is also now, and I'm also married now this time. I'm married at the time to my wife, Sharon. Yeah. So she goes with me. We go to the court, and they said I owe $22,000 and some change in back child support, including arrears. And I said, wait a minute, how do I owe $22,000 in back child support when every check that I get, it was called child support family, child support specialist. That's what it's called, child support specialist. They get their cut. Now, my first wife at the time, she didn't go through the state of Texas to file it. She went through a private agency. She went to a third party agency.
Right.
So they sent me the paperwork. All I did was give it to my employer, and they garnished my check for child support for the money, or deducted the child support payments for the money that they were to take from my check, right? And so that had been happening for years. Yeah. So when I got this letter mail, I'm like, this can't be right. So what I did was I said, okay, my wife actually, thank God for her. She said, here's what we're gonna do. She said, every job that you had, starting from Brinks to where you are right now, you're gonna contact the payroll department, and you're gonna get a manifest statement. You're gonna get manifest, logs of all your child support payments that you had, to make sure that if they say that you owe this, then it needs to line up with these figures over here. And so that's what we did, brother. When we got all of those, payroll slips and manifest slips, right? Thank God I had only had 2 jobs that I had left and went to. So I didn't have to go to too many jobs to try to find it. So it was only 2 jobs that I was at for the majority of the time that I was paying child support for my first son. Yeah. And so we added those figures up, brother. Not only did we not owe back child support, I overpaid my child support. Did you hear what I just said, bro? Wow. Did you hear what I said? we calculating. We like, okay, the math ain't mathing over here, what y'all telling me. And so we go to Midland. And I got my manila folder and everything, and I go to the courtroom. Now they told us we had to be there at 9:00. Okay, so we sitting in the lobby waiting for my case to be heard. Me and my wife. And I see everybody just passing, everybody getting their cases heard. I said maybe they're going through alphabetical order because my last name is Woods. I said maybe they're going through alphabetical order. I don't know. They can't be going by anything else. They can't be going by docket number. They got to be going by alphabetical order. I'm here.
Right.
5:00 rolls around, man, and prior to 5:00 rolling around, I asked the court clerk. I said, can you give me an estimation on when will my case be heard? I said it's almost late in the afternoon, and I haven't we've been here. I've already checked in, so they can't say that I didn't show up and try to put out a bench warrant for me. I'm here, and so she told me. She said, well, let me see, and we'll just wait here, and we'll call you when your numbers is up. All right, fine. So. Everybody's case is heard. We're still sitting there, Mel. Finally, after 5:00, they called me up. I walk into the courtroom, and the courtroom is empty. The only persons that are there is the judge, the court reporter, and the constables. The constables are all standing in the back of the wall, against the back of the wall. And I'm just walking in there like, okay, why all these? What is this? A police convention? Why all these cops? why are these constables all wall to wall in this room? What's really going on? So I'm just standing there, and so the judge said, Mr. Woods, you've been charged with failure to pay child support, including arrears in the amount of $22,000 some odd certain dollars and such cents. How do you plead? And I said, not guilty, Your Honor, not guilty. He said, what do you mean not guilty? He said, based here, you owe Miss So-and-so, such amount of dollars, the $22,000 some odd dollars in back child support through child support specialists. And matter of fact, they said through the state of Texas. That's what they said, through the state of Texas. I said, well, Your Honor, I said, based on my documents and based on my payroll stubs, that I have had my child support payments deducted ever since my ex-wife had filed child support on me. I have not missed any payments. And I said, any payments that were missed were already paid back and recouped. And so he said, well, the information that we have here and what you're saying to me, it needs to match up. I said, well, here's all my check stubs. And so he took my folder and he asked my ex-wife, who's the agency that you went through? And so she told him the agency was child support specialist. That judge contacted child support specialist on the phone while he was on the bench and spoke to the man that is that's in charge of that business. And so he said, this is Judge so-and-so from Midland, County Courthouse, blah, blah, blah. I have Mr. Woods and Miss so-and-so here in regards to a case involving Mr. Woods' failure to pay child support. And he's before this court right now. And we just need to get information from you to confirm, does he owe this amount of money? And so he said, and the man knew me because I've always contacted him in case there was any problems. So he knew me, quote unquote, personally from a business standpoint. Yeah. He said, well, Your Honor, he said, I've been in contact with Mr. Woods and Miss so-and-so since the case had happened. He said, and Mr. Woods has never missed a payment. I said, but any payments he said he had missed had already been paid. He said, well, what amounts do you have? He said, what is your figures? The judge asked him. He said, well, based on my documents and based on my ledger, Mr. Woods is not owing any arrears in child support. So here's what happened. When we got divorced, the state of Texas, they had opened up the child support. I guess when you go to divorce, they automatically, I guess, have child support that's supposed to be, paid for the children over like that. My ex never told the court that she already has child support paying coming out or going against me through this agency. So all these years, Mel, these people are accruing money against me while my ex-wife is basically getting paid for child support over here. So the judge now he getting mad. He said, so he said, okay. So he told the guy that was from child support specialist. He said, thank you. He said, Miss so-and-so, is this true? You have this money coming from this agency for child support? Why didn't you tell us? Why didn't you tell this court? And so she's hemming and hawing and whatever like that. And so I'm just standing there because I'm like, brother, listen, they're ready to lock me up for something that I know I was not guilty of, right? And so making a long story short, so after he gives, my ex-wife the third degree or whatever like that, he turns to me and says, well, Mr. Woods, based on the information and based on the evidence here, your case is dismissed and you're free to go. I said, excuse me, Your Honor, time out. What about this $29,000 that in child support? Because remember, ladies and gentlemen, they said I owed 22. I paid 29. Right. Okay? That's a $7,000 surplus, bro. Right. I just like to know, can the brother get his refund back? I mean, y'all been taking my tax return when I was behind on stuff. So that judge told me, brother, consider it a gift. I said, no, I can't consider that no gift. Take it out of my check. Yeah. Take it out of my check. I didn't feel gifted then. And so he said, well, this is considered a gift. This is going to your child anyway. And it was an error, but just consider the gift. I had to appeal that case, brother. I appealed that case and wrote a letter to the judge, to the appellate court, and explained it to them what the judge's ruling was over here was not just. And so, by God's grace, thank God, they awarded me the $7,000 surplus. But what they did was they reduced my child support payments throughout the duration of the time where the $7,000 was owed, or actually was accrued, was paid in overage. And so for that next, I think 2 years, maybe 3, I had lesser child support payments to make to offset the $7,000 overage.
Yeah.
Whew. Long story, but that's just one of the cases, bro.
That's just one of the cases. And I think I can speak for everybody. I don't think that was a long story at all. I think that's something we gradually was anticipating. Okay, how this is gonna happen? What's going on?
Yeah.
I just want to say congratulations, brother, because it's kind of like we can get a documentary going, surviving child support or surviving baby mamas or whatever. Woo. Because that's a heroic story.
Yeah, I would not wish child support on my worst enemy. Seriously, I wouldn't. I believe now, if you're a deadbeat, I'm talking about in every sense of the word, right? If you're refusing to take care of your children, then let the courts do with you as they will.
Right.
But I believe there are more men in the system because of bitter baby mamas than they are because these men are refusing to take care of their responsibilities. Because from a logical standpoint, it's just me, brother.
Absolutely.
When you are charged with failure to pay child support, you run the risk of losing your license. They take your license from you, your driver's license. Yeah. You lose the risk of any endorsements that you have. You run the risk of not being able to find a job, because if you don't have a license, you don't have ID, then how can you apply for any type of job, right? Yeah. So they know that these things will affect you. So why would any logically thinking man run the risk of refusing to pay child support, knowing that you can go to prison, which I believe technically debtor's prison, that's against the law. You don't go to prison for being in debt.
For any other debt.
You see what I'm saying? But this is on the books.
Right.
As you can go to jail for failure to pay child support. Last time I checked, that's a debt. That's not. I mean, but it goes back again to our laws. The child support, the family system, the family child support court system, bro, it's a scourge against the family, particularly the Black family.
Absolutely.
In my opinion.
Well.
And it's just totally unbiblical, man. It's I was remembering in Deuteronomy, I believe, and I wanted to read it for you just a second, because I think this is really something that needs to be discussed. And a lot of people don't even realize this, but it's in Deuteronomy chapter 24, verse 6. It says, "No one shall take a handmill or an upper millstone in pledge, for he will be taking a life in the pledge." Now, if you just put that in this modern context, in the Old Testament, the upper millstone was what was used to grind grain and make flour and to make bread, right? This was the means by which people were able to take care of themselves and to survive. And so God says, you don't take away a man's means of provision.
Yes, sir.
You don't take away a man's livelihood. He says that's their life.
Yeah.
So if you take away the means for me to work, you put me in. So now you throw me in prison. How am I able to pay the child support? I mean, make that make sense, man. I mean, I know it's just, I'm trying to bring the cookies down from the top shelf for everybody. How is going to prison going to make me pay child support when now you got me in prison for 6 months? Now I lost my job, I lost my car, lost my house, lost family, whatever the case might be.
Yeah.
And I believe it's due to bitterness. It's due to women that they know that the court system has their back.
Yes. See,
when you and I go and get involved in the child support, system, right? We can't afford an attorney. Yep. They get attorney free. Mm-hmm. They get free legal representation.
Yeah.
Right. So this stuff, it doesn't help the family. And again, I'm talking about men who should not be in the system, that are being put and pushed through the system and being treated as pariah.
Yeah, man.
Right? They're being treated as financial prisoners of war because of bitter women who don't want to let go or feel as I'm going to destroy this man and any potential relationships that he has with anybody else.
Yeah.
And it's just wrong, bro. I mean, it's wickedness. And so many people profess to be Christians. I mean,
yeah. So true, man. It's oxymoronic when you look at it. I mean, it's child support, but you taking away any means I can to support, the child by throwing us to prison or affecting our finances, and things of that nature. And I love that. We don't want to have a conversation about Roe v. Wade. It's not what this is about. But I love that Roe v. Wade was taken back, and basically it's been my opinion that it should be updated, because it's definitely outdated, and I believe a lot of laws, and if you're going to update that, all these antiquated laws, then definitely child support should be relooked at and reestablished, because if we're talking about equality, we're talking about women having all rights, then we need to look at when this law was initially initiated, which some can say it's because men was the primary breadwinner back then. So women had to have some form of protection. That makes complete sense. Okay. What is it today? That's not the case whatsoever. And that has become abuse. I think a lot of our rights and things that people protest about maybe initially have a noble cause, but eventually it goes to abuse, and it becomes the slippery slope that no one can recover from.
Let's go.